Hey fam, welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions. And of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back. And these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. Hey guys, today I'm going to come at you with a quick message. Just about overcoming your wounds, but just specifically is what I've been going through. But today, just putting out the good word. Yeah, so today I was like, well, in the last, I would say 2 weeks, but today marked a milestone for me, where I am, I'm putting myself back out there in regards to people, places, and things, right? I've gone through a lot of wounds, a lot of trauma work, and a lot of us out there, right? We go through this, whether that be counseling, therapy, shadow work. It's a wide variety. There's so many subcategories to all that, right? But it's simply put and quickly put is you look at the stuff that's bothering you, the stuff that's hindering you. You address it. Upon addressing it, you're going to reactivate the wounds, and then it's going to take time to heal from it. But time does heal all, and love heals everything. I don't care what anyone says. Love literally is the remedy to healing in its entirety. So, yeah, I in the last, I would say 2 or 3 months, I've been healing from pain and wounds from other people. But I believe that the universe, or God, I believe God puts us in a place where He reactivates the wounds that were in your past and your trauma to put you in a place where you're addressing it, so you can actually address it and heal from it and acknowledge it, right? A lot of the times when that happens, you'll notice you'll get numerology that are in sequence. They'll be like 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, so on and so on, and it'll tell you the next steps to take, and it's actually telling you in subsequent order. So I don't know why I say that, but I just know because that's just what popped up in my head is angel numbers. It'll tell you what sequence you're in, right? So if you are interested in angel numbers, I do have videos out on angel numbers and explanations of them, how they work. Specifically, you may be going through that. That might be something in your spiritual awakening right now. Go ahead and check that out. It's been something that's been on my mind lately. So I know that probably people are coming to this channel or are going to be, I need to hear this information. But I believe that when it's time to address the problems, and that's what's been happening in the last 3 months. And how that happens is people are going to come into your life and they're going to do exactly what happened to you back in the day, right? But it needs to happen. And a lot of times we often look at it, and I know that I was looking at it like, why me? Why me, universe? Why is this happening to me right now? Like, I'm doing good now. Why are people treating me in this way? And I say, and I've learned, is that the reason why is not because it's happening to me, it's happening for me, right? And so oftentimes when we change the perspective, but it takes you to go through the process. That's why I'm saying that you're going to go through the process as well if you're in the spiritual awakening, and you choose, because it's your choice at the end of the day, whether or not, if you want to keep going through the loop. You can avoid trauma work and get through, but you're only going to meet a certain amount of success on your journey. And I don't mean material wise. I'm talking about you, inside of you, what you're living with every day. You're going to meet a threshold, and you're not going to be able to push through it because you skipped the trauma work. That's why I say it's imperative and important in the beginning stages. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you have in your life. That's the most important thing. Oftentimes people get money and status and power confused with this process, and it has got nothing to do with it. Yes, you deserve kudos for your achievements, but inside you can see that people feel miserable, or they are miserable by their actions, right? If you're getting triggered by it, this is good. This is what you need to work on, right? I know this is what people had to say to me. Believe me, I have a sponsor, I have therapists who tell me in my face all the time, or used to. It's getting a little bit better, but they still do it, right? But throwing in my face that you're delusional, right? And then I have to address it and fix it. And oftentimes it's, no, Eddie, that's not what's going on. You're resurfacing things from the past, and then I recalibrate, fix the way that I'm thinking about it, and then readjust, and then constantly do this over and over and over again, right? That's the process. But so when we look at it, and when these situations are coming back into our life, it's happening because we're asking for it. It's the energy that you're putting out there, and it's happening on a subconscious level. It's not a conscious level. Your higher self is bringing this to you, so you can evolve. You have to go through this work, and I don't care how long it takes. This is why I'm saying God has a beautiful plan, because the way it works is you have to follow His plan. I know I constantly take the wheel from Him, and constantly have to give it back to Him, and it's a push and pull, right? But I do believe that the process is beautiful in the way that it's built in this platform, because it's an ego ruiner and a pride ruiner. And when you humble yourself, you get put in such a higher place. It may not feel like it because you're having to dissolve the ego. And honestly, man, ego can hide itself in so many different ways. It's ridiculous. But getting back to it, I believe in declarations. I believe in we're just putting it out to the universe. So I say right now, and if you're with me, say it with me, man. I declare to the universe, to God, I declare to God that from this point on, I am going to open myself up to new relationships, meeting new people, going to new places, doing new things, not bringing the old trauma from the past, letting it go, leaving it where it is, and being in the present and enjoying the present and moving forward in new relationships and coming with a new fresh heart, mind, and soul to these new programs. So be it, so it is. And so I think the reason why I'm putting this is all just kind of like on the spot. So I believe that like the message probably to get across to you guys is that oftentimes we believe things are working against us, but it's not. It's working for us. And changing the perspective is a good start. And just I always say, it's like rethinking about how you're doing something. And for me right now, it was like I just went to go I took care of some business that I haven't done for 10 years. And I don't want to say specifically what I was doing, but it's insane that you can get caught into a loop and not fix things out of fear or out of doubt, out of lack. And we do this in so many different ways in our life, but we put a bar in front of us that doesn't exist, I think a good example of that is this, you guys. Okay, so I know we're still running a little later on the time, but I think that this message is really cool. So an example of putting a boundary up for yourself that didn't need to be there to begin with, but is there to teach me something, I would say is, okay, so I forever in a day have wanted to do acting. I've changed the plan as of recent. So it's going to be a later thing. I don't, it's not on my docket, but this is an example. So I remember for a long time, I didn't want to go to an audition because I was too afraid to not be accepted. Obviously, I was having difficulties with unworthiness, a lack of self-love because I was in a place of self-loathing. So it's difficult to put yourself out there because you're going to get scrutinized, right? That's the process. It's interesting, though, because oftentimes we get blinded to one thing, right? And I got two scenarios. I'll say this one and then another one. You have to remember like this, you guys. It's the way that you think about things that you have to transition. And for me, I was going to AA meetings and I was speaking in front of people, and it was just like normal to me, right? Oftentimes we talk to our friends and we're ourselves. And I went to an audition. I bombed. I did terribly, right? Like, of course, I've never been to an acting school. I've never done anything like that, right? So what's outstanding about this frame of thought is it's like, I went to the audition, I bombed, every fear came to reality, and then I walked out of there, and then they said, well, you have the look. They said you were acting when you did your introduction. The moment you got the script, you turned into a robot. And I did that like multiple times. It gave me multiple chances to do it. And I just froze up and I was reading, right? Reading the words instead of acting it out. And they're like, when you were talking to us in the beginning, you're acting. And I couldn't understand that. But the interesting thing is this, you guys. So the moment that I left that building, I thought to myself, wow, what? I was like, okay, so I did terrible, but they told me that I can act. And so after I got my wits about me, I realized, oh, Eddie, all I have to do is go to acting classes, and all I have to do is get my confidence back, right? And once I get my confidence in it, I'll be good to go. And that's when the perspective changed for me. Another good example of this one is I remember being in an AA meeting. Okay, so the way that it worked, I was actually in a rehab center, and so we would do our groups inside the facility, and then we would go to another building where outsiders would come into an AA to the 12-step meeting, right? And so there was a difference mentally when other people came in, but when it was just our group, you felt normal, right? Which is a weird feeling and a weird thought in itself, because everyone there is the same, right? We often we put depictions in pictures in our head of a situation that doesn't exist. And we do this with everything, you guys. This is the crazy thing. This is why it's imperative for us to tackle fear when fear hits us. If we steer away from fear, we make that our programming, and it becomes a habit, and that's when it becomes dangerous for us, because it will infiltrate every portion of your life. The cool thing about this, you guys, is I remember we would go into so we would have our groups, and then we would go to the meetings, and some people wouldn't talk. And then I remember going, we had as the meeting with the small group with just us, we were all talking with the counselor, and I remember the counselor was like, we were talking about like when the other ones come, and I remember one of the clients had said, I don't like talking when we're in the bigger groups. And I just remember that was the first time I got this flash. I felt like this is like when I was in rehab is when the lights turned back on for me, right? That's when I felt like the light, God's light, went back into my heart, I would say. What they used to say is like, you're opening yourself up to the sunlight of the Spirit, right? And that's just the sunshine, the sunlight, however you want to look at it. And for me, that's a beautiful. I'm getting warm and like hard to talk about it, because I remember that was an exceptional time period for me, because I remember from being in the dark to being into that position right then and there it was like night and day, man. I can't change. That was so much for me. Okay, I want to cry from thinking about it, but yeah. So this client, she said that she didn't like being in those groups, and that she didn't like talking. And I just remember, sometimes they're called God shots, or it's like when God's talking through you, right? Or it's when a situation you're talking to someone, and then you talk to another person, and they're talking about the same thing. That's God. God's in between the lines. You're not hearing it, right? Those are the beautiful moments. And I remember I blurted something out, and I was like, why did I talk? Like, I totally cut off the counselor. I cut off everyone who was talking, and I was like, hey, I said her name, and I was like, look, you talk in this meeting all the time. All you have to do right now is turn your seat and look at. Oh, the only difference is in your mind. All you have to do is turn your seat, and you're in that big meeting. What is the difference? And I remember her looking at me, and the light turned back on in her head too. And I thought that was the most amazing experience. And that was, to me, those are the little moments where I get to remember, and that's how I teach others, right, through my experience. I got a PhD, double D in in experience, man. I've lived in the 34 years that I've been here, I've lived so much life, so much trauma, man. But through that adversity, I'm bigger and better for it. I just want to say, you guys, so if I'm trying to say anything, because I've said a lot to you already, right? It's that change of perspective is everything, and the way that you look at it, and hopefully you guys got something from this message. I love you guys so much. Today was a good day. I thank God, and I give Him glory for that, and I say to empower you as well. Give yourself glory. Give yourself kudos for the things that you do that uplift yourself, because in turn you're going to uplift humanity. Don't let it stop at you. Make sure to help the person in front of you, not just your family, but strangers as well. And essentially you'll get to the place where you can actually forgive your enemy. And that's where I want to get, because there are people that have wounded and hurt me, but I'm ready now to forgive them. I've forgiven a lot of people, but I'm ready to wholeheartedly let go of everything that has happened to me and move to the forefront of the future, because that stuff is blocking me and holding me from being my most authentic self. And hopefully you guys got something from this as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Bye, you guys.